Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are looking at Transformers Age of the Primes. Another entry into the 13, and this time it is the leader class Megatronus, also known as the Fallen. And straight out of the packaging, I have to say this is an impressive and imposing figure, and I am really impressed with what they've done here. The first three primes that we've received as part of the 13 within the Age of the Primes range, as you know, has been Solus Prime, Primer Prime, and Megatronus Prime, and we have, or Megatronus, and we've seen them essentially increase in scale class from Deluxe to Voyager to Leader, and despite that, they've all retained a certain degree of there is something about them that really works as the ethereal primes. I really love it, whereas this one is a beast. So we'll do a quick look at the box, and then because of space and the size, we'll move the box out of the way. And we'll just focus on the figure itself. So let's kick off first of all with the artwork on the front, and there is Megatronus looking pretty Megatronus-y, reaching out to get us. I'll scroll up a little bit more there. Then you can see that famous face and head sculpt that is essentially the blueprint of the Decepticon logo and insignia rather. And there is his tank mode. The tank mode that famously, one of the aspects of Megatronus that famously inspired Megatron's original tank mode. Yeah, we'll gloss over that. Transformers Age of the Primes. Again, I can't not say how much I really like this sort of sleek black and gold, obviously with the red splash of brand and range, and of course figure information. This has 38 steps. So it's a step up. The artwork on the side is a reproduction of the Megatronus artwork, and on the back we have product shots, all the product shots you could want. And I just want to show you something. I might actually have to zoom in. Oh no, I think we can do it this way. This is really interesting. Now, as you'll have seen, all of the Age of the Primes of 13 so far have had a segment of the mural of the 13 primes, and I just observed this when I was looking and got them out of the packaging really. So here we have Megatronus being all leader classy, and next to him on his left, on our right, so is what I initially at a first glance was thinking, oh yeah, that's Star Optimus Prime, Battlestar Optimus Prime, Star Convoy, whatever you want to call him. But that is, you know, that's what we're seeing there. And then I looked a bit closer. That's me trying to help you look a bit closer. And if I'm honest, and again, tell me if I'm seeing things, it looks more like Power Master Optimus Prime. Because one of the key things about Star Optimus is he has that sort of star crest on his chest. This looks much more like Power Master Optimus Prime's chest unit. But maybe I'm just seeing things, or maybe I'm just misinterpreting it, or maybe I'm just plain wrong and I just can't see the star symbol or anything that suggests that that's his chest. So not sure what you think about that. If you think anything about it, you might just think I'm bonkers, which is fine, because I kind of am. But perhaps let me know what you think in the comments down below about that observation, because I'm not sure I've seen anyone else mention it. I'm sure they probably have, but I just thought it was a bit peculiar, given we've got, you know, this Titan class Star Optimus coming. And the illustration seems to not be Star Optimus. If I'm brutally honest, it does seem to be Power Master Prime. How peculiar. Anyway, that's the box. Love the box art. Transformers continuing to do far more with their box art than so many other toy lines do. Bear with me when I just slightly readjust the camera so I can get him in. He is a hefty beast. So I'll do most of it in hand, but you know, he is, what can I tell you? He is a hefty beast. There we go. Now, he does require some minimal assembly. not the robot mode, not just really the accessories. So he comes with his, of course, the legendary Requiem blaster there. And he also comes with a sword and an axe that requires a bit of assembly. There is storage for them on the back, as you can see here, very neatly tidied them away. I love that. I'll take them off because we're going to use them in hand shortly. But he also has a couple of other additional bits we had to attach, which is this shoulder mounted rocket unit, which I really like because I think it looks like it's on a peg, so you can sort of angle it a little bit as part of the transformation, but it does give you some options to pose that itself, and obviously you can see it doubles up as a water tank or a gas tank in tank mode. And there's also this, which is really cute. Now I disobeyed the instructions originally, but this is where it's supposed to be apparently, but this is the sort of gun barrel element, but it comes loose and you attach it here. I rather cheekily originally attached it here on the back of Megatronus because I just thought it was kind of even more reminiscent of someone else's, another Decepticon leader who had a gun barrel not dissimilar to that sticking up on their back right there, and I thought I quite like that that sort of historical symmetry, but that isn't where it goes. That's storage for weapons. But you know what, ultimately it's your figure, you do what you like. Oh, don't want to untab lots of things while I'm correcting my cheeky mistakes. So those two items, Blart and Blart, attach once he's out of the box. They do come wrapped up in the nice little Autobot paper, which you've all seen millions of times. There it is. But let's get in and have a look at this guy. Let's really do this. Now that head sculpt is really excellent. I think it captures some of the best elements of the Decepticons in terms of black and purple detailing. Black and purple I love together, and of course there's also that gold. Some might say yellow. I'm going with gold. That gold detailing that follows throughout and is subtly across all of his body. And it, I think, also plays into that sense that there's a burning rage and burning power within him. And we'll go a little bit more into that in a moment. But from a detailing point of view, he's got more shoulder-mounted cannons, I assume, up here. The arms are beautifully sculpted. There's no hollow pieces in the arms at all. You do get finger articulation, although they are moulded pieces. But, you know, at least they can open and close. There is there's some minor wrist articulation there, can rotate. All the other articulation is what you would expect to see. There's nothing unusual. You've got facility for dynamic posing, and it's helped, of course, with his already imposing physical self. So you've got all of that down the front. Again, we've got lovely detailing around the waist and crutch area, and yes, you do get waist articulation. The legs aren't particularly hollow. You can see some of the tracks on the inside. There's lots of panel coverage. There's a little bit of one. Let me just move that hip skirt so I've got access there. There's a little bit of waffling in there, but I mean, it's the mushroom peg, and well, it's a couple of mushroom pegs actually. But you know, it's not hollow. It is filled in, and it just does look like, you know, robot bits. So I'm not that fussed. There's other, it's like he's got sandals on because there's quite a bit of gappage in the feet. And I must admit, when I first got him out of the box, he didn't really want to stand up. So I had to muck about. And there's no, unless I'm missing them, there's no, sorry, you couldn't see what I was doing. I was just having a look to see if there's any heels, but there's not. It's literally that. So there was a little bit of jiggery pokery. Let me just put the hip skirt down. Again, it's very nicely stiff. All of his joints thus far are proving to be very nicely stiff. So that's very reassuring. So he does hold himself well. The articulation is great. We can give him his, let's open those hands up. and give him his axis thing. You can see I know all the technical terms. So there's his axis thing, and he can also have his, and this does have to be put in because it's got a stopper at the bottom of it, so you can't just slide it in. And there we have him with his swordy thing. So he's got his swordy thing, which is going to fall out of his hand now. In you get. Come on. Don't muck about because the camera's on. Don't show off. Honestly. Yeah, I would have liked it to have been able to be held in a bit more robustly. Well, that might have done it. Well, that'll do for now anyway. Let's just sort those legs out. Yep, so he's got that nice blade. And again here, I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in a little bit so hopefully you can. You can see there in the center of the screen Megatronus' symbol upon the Requiem blaster, as provided by Solus Prime, who may or may not have been a love interest of Megatronus. Now, he also comes with, and it all goes a little bit Ghost Rider here, he also comes with some really nice flame effects, which I am, if we go by the instructions for robot mode, I think I've done this correctly. I'm sure someone will correct me otherwise in the comments if we haven't. Let's just move that slightly. And then this goes on the side. Like that. And they don't impede articulation, which of course is always nice. And this will give you an indication why I tend not to do transformations on camera. Where are we? Line up. Line up. There we go. Nope, doesn't want to line up. Why don't you want to line up? There we go. So yeah, there we go. I quite like that. That's quite a nice visual to suddenly have these flame effects surrounding him, and especially the way it sort of surrounds his head there. I think that is really, really nice, and I would love to know, in fact I think I'm going to try it right now, how they look when you add in a little bit of additional lighting. I'll try and get some sort of reddish orangey lighting that might be able to do something with those flame effects. Maybe if we take down the light a bit in the review area, we might get a bit of a, yeah, they do respond quite nicely. I'm just thinking from a photography point of view, a toy photography perspective, we might be able to get some nice stuff done with that. Yeah, I quite like that. I quite like that. It probably looks better in real life than it does on the camera. I'm conscious as I'm looking at both. The cameras are not looking quite as dramatic as it looks over here. And let's get back to normal lighting. I'll confuse the camera settings. But yeah, I think this is a fantastic figure. I think I really like it. I'm very much looking forward to at some point having a complete collection of the 13. Which originally, again, wasn't really something that I had much of an interest in, but as is my annoying way, and annoying to me really more than anybody else. Once I've decided I think the range is, I like a range, then I have to have the entire range. It is a curse, and yes, for those of you saying get help, I probably should. But I really think they're going to look great together. Possibly trying to find a way to recreate the mural around the Well of All Sparks, which is, I think, what we see on the side of the boxes, and was part of the original promo of the Age of the Primes range that Hasbro did And I think it's probably still available on their YouTube channel, so by all means go and check that out. But yeah, Megatronus, who inspired Megatron, and through some wonderful retro engineering, you can see that they have planted some of the key seeds of Megatron's future additions to his form, so such as his own fusion cannon and the barrel element. And I just love that, and it will still fit actually. If he's holding his weapons, it can still fit around the back. So if that was something that amused you the way it slightly amused me, then feel free to stick it there. You know, I mean, there's lots of ports and you can do an awful lot of stuff with him, and my recommendation is have a play. It is a toy, that's what it's for. Play with it, have some fun. You'll see when he's standing, it does look a little bit like he's going to fall backwards, and that was part of my problem. So there's a reel with the legs and the feet. You've almost got to see, there he is, he's forwards now, but there is a his centre of gravity seems to be a bit peculiar, and it could just be me because he's literally there's literally a I forgot what I was going to say. What was I going to say? Well, I think a fine balance is probably the best thing to say, from when you get him out of the box to how you want to stand him up, because it was very, very strange how, because I don't know what was happening, but for some reason he just, when I put him down, he just wouldn't stand unaided, and so I just faffed about with his legs, you know, technical term, that's what I did, faffed about with his legs until he didn't fall over, and here we are. And again, I don't know if you've seen, and some of you must have done, the Roboson Megatron, which of course is a beautiful, is it even a toy? A beautiful thing in its own right. But there's reminiscences within this of that, and I think that's, I love that as well. I love that the lineage is very clear in some respects. I'm not sure that's quite the case with Solus Prime and with Primer Prime so far, and I'm not suggesting it should be, you know, but I know there was some of the initial promos talk was all around, well actually yeah, you can trace all of the Transformers lineage to one of the original 13 primes. Well, that's great, and I'd love to know at some point how we do that, and I'm sure there must be something online that I've not found. So if you know how we do that, then by all means let me know in the comments down below. Right, I'm now going to transform him off camera into his tank mode, just because he's stiff. I don't want to force any items, so I want to take my time over doing it, get it right, which I'm not going to bore you with. You're bored enough. So I'm going to skip, literally using the magic of YouTube, to the finished product, hopefully. And at that point, I'll report any particular issues or concerns or pressure points or intriguing elements that caught my attention whilst I was doing it, and give you my final thoughts. So whilst you're waiting for this to happen, by all means like the video, that would be fantastic. And also, if you could, drop a completely free subscription to the channel. Yes, I know you hear us all say that, but it really does help the channel grow. It helps the algorithm realize that people are actually watching you. And again, if you fancy sharing this to your fellow Transformer collector friends or those interested in Transformers figures, etc., then by all means do so. The more the merrier. It's you know, completely free to have a subscription to the channel. Just means you don't miss anything coming up in the future, and there'll be quite a bit coming up in the future. One of them I've mentioned very recently in this video actually, and I'm very much looking forward to doing that one. I'm just trying to work out the logistics of how. Anyway, before you can say something convoluted, let's get Megatronus into his alternative mode. And as if by magic, here we have Megatronus transformed into his alternative mode. I will say the transformation itself, very straightforward, with some really interesting engineering. There's lots of panels and flaps to be maneuvered in order to get him into this mode. It is rather, I'll go straight for a sort of a top view down. It is rather that familiar Decepticon villain H-based tank that we've seen a few times now across some Decepticons. But that said, it does work because, again, it's a Cybertronian battle mode, and it's indicative of his character. I'll start with my very minimal negatives first. The turret section is a bit of a pain. The cannon, which is obviously the main feature weapon here, tabs in one place, and that's between the two arms at the back. There's nothing at the front to hold it in place. And it would, given how cleverly aligned so many other tabs are, and for example, this is the conjoined weapon for storage. I've slightly tweaked the instructions because they suggest you have them either side in the middle, but it just seemed more dramatic to me to have two of them going across the front here, where his blade and his axe weapon are joined together. But even down to the side of the axe here, tabbing into that portion of the tank to give it stability. They could do that for the accessories, which is optional storage, but they couldn't manage it for the primary part of the weapon of the tank. There is rotation. If you hold tightly, you can rotate the whole assembly. That works. But if you want to sort of elevate it and what have you, then this is the only point really where there's a bit of a value to it, only attaching at the back. You can do that. But it's not brilliant. It does rather fall apart there. I mean, it looks good, and you can do all sorts of nice photographic things with it, and I'll try and get a couple of shots included at the end of the video for you. But yeah, it's a little bit messy from a play point of view. Now, I'm not going to be playing with it, but just, you know, for some who might want to play with it, or you're getting it for your kids, or for yourselves, just be aware that the gun turret itself, not all that in terms of maneuverability and effectiveness. It does roll nicely, so let's get into the surface detailing of the tank. You'll presumably see some and recognize some of the elements of Megatronus as we go around it, but it's a very nicely done transformation. There's lots of bits and pieces that open out. There's a little bit of spacing here, so you can sort of see through there. That's a bit indicative with the H tank format, but again, it's also angle dependent. So if you don't sort of have it at an angle which exposes it, then you don't see it. So again, surface detailing on the turret is very nice. You've got the gas canister. I wasn't quite right actually, because the gas canister element is sort of there, but the missiles still point forwards, and this sort of sight unit here flips around and comes to the front. You can see the molded in treads here along the base, which look really, really great. And you do have, which is always nice and not always present, some real wheels underneath the faux tracks. So as mentioned, you can actually roll with ease and nothing gets in the way underneath. Because mine was quite stiff, positioning the legs, there's a sort of double transformation joint in the hips, which didn't want to go, and so I'm naturally having kittens thinking, oh my god, what's going to happen here? But it did in the end, so it was absolutely worth it. Bracing myself for a snapped off leg. I always feel that way. I just don't trust things not to break in my hands. And with that in mind, I'm slightly dreading the arrival of my HasLab Omega Prime. Hearing so many tragic stories about what other people have received through the post with theirs being damaged and cracked, and I'm just hoping to goodness that's not going to be the case when I unbox mine on camera. But yeah, I think this works really nicely. It doesn't lose any of the imposing quality. And as I say, if you're getting him into a pose and you're using it for photography or as a display in tank mode, then you should be fine. But if you want to be moving this around and doing all sorts of other things, it doesn't hold in well. So just be mindful of that, maybe, and manage your expectations accordingly. I do like how this attaches here as the accessory. The gun barrel, of course, does form the front part of the tank cannon. I'm trying to think if there's anything else of note to mention. Not really, I don't think. I do like the way that the purple and the yellow are retained in tank mode. It's a bit less obvious. We lose some of it to a much more prevalent gunmetal grey and silver, especially around the front and the rear. So mainly the purple forms the part of the turret, and the very front grille here, which jumps out at us in sort of a metallic purple paint, which again I think the metallic purple and the yellow works so well. But yeah, I really like this. So let me know down below, have you picked up Megatronus? Was he one of your instant picks? It's a fantastic figure. The vehicle mode does what it has to do. I would probably not be keeping him in this mode for the majority of the time, if any more time. To be perfectly honest, I think he looks much better for me in robot mode. That's nothing against how he looks in this mode. I think it looks great. It just isn't my preferred mode of this figure. So I will probably be transforming him back as soon as we finish this video. But do let me know down below what you think of Megatronus. Which of the 13 primes as yet unreleased are you looking forward to receiving, or looking forward to at least seeing released or launched or announced, so you can get a chance to have a look? Which one are you most curious how they're going to represent? And what do you think about that curiosity in the artwork, or is it just me? Because as I say, I think it looks like Power Master Prime and not Star Convoy, which makes me wonder if there were any last-minute changes to their plans after the artwork was commissioned, because we know there is a history of Transformers artwork being commissioned with some information, and then information about the figures, or facts about the figures, actually changing, and the artwork not being, and the artist not being informed. So I wonder if we were going to get a Power Master Prime as the 13th at some point down the road, and then plans were changed to make it a Star Optimus. I don't know. We maybe never know, and that's probably, I mean, I don't know why they would do that, so I have no inside information. That's why I'm asking you guys. So let me know, and as I say, let me know what you would like to see next in the range of the 13. Which ones would you like to see coming next? And are there any Age of the Primes figures that you're particularly hoping get released that haven't been announced yet? I know there's leaks left, right and centre, and mostly they're right, but they're not always right. But irrelevant of the leaks, we know that there's more to come out than has been leaked. So what would you like to see? Who would you like to see embodied in the Age of the Primes range from Hasbro and Takara Tomy and their wonderful Transformers? Okay, that's all from me on this particular video. Thank you so much for spending the last 20 or so minutes with me. I know it's been a long one, but there's a lot to cover on a figure like this. But thank you for sticking around. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You have been a magnificent audience. And this has been Megatronus the Fallen, one of the 13, as part of the Age of the Primes range from Hasbro Transformers. Just remains for me to say that I very much look forward to seeing you in a future, or indeed a past video, and that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.